Okay, we are back from the scheduled break, and what we've got here is Central Washington University against Oregon, and we will be kicking off here right now. So a good high kick, good deep kick by Central to start off the first half here. Oregon looking to go over to the left-hand side. Going to be bobbled a bit on the ground there. Central player dives on it, and looks like the ball did manage to stay in touch, or perhaps not. I saw a leg go into touch, just wasn't sure if he was in contact with the ball at the time or not. Oregon is lining up for a line out, so it looks like Central player was called as having moved into touch, and Oregon line out. So Oregon with a clean line out, and they'll look to go off back to the right-hand side, reversing their field up the middle. He's going to find a hole and break up the middle if he can outrun that final defender, and it looks like he's going to have the speed, and Oregon is going to strike first here in this first match as he'll take that one up and dot it down beneath the post.
That's an outstanding bit of pace shown. That's something you can't teach. Two things you can't teach in rugby is height and speed, and that was a great display of speed there. Straight over the halfway line, straight over the 10, ball under the arm, clean pair of heels, and over the line he goes to add 5 points to open the scoring bank for Oregon.
And so quickly, Oregon out to a 5-0 lead. So I am being told from the field that what the teams have decided to do for this particular match is this is the B-sides for both Central and Oregon playing each other. So just so folks know, I'll get that updated on the scoreboard here in just a second. But Oregon up to a quick lead. We did not get a view of the conversion, but with the touchdown right beneath the post, highly likely that conversion was good. We're going to call it Oregon 7, Siwu 0. As Oregon kicks off, and we'll let the camera catch up. Looks like that kick might have bounced or rolled into touch, and Central will have a line out inside their own 22-meter line.
Central are going to want to make sure that they look after possession and exit out of their own 22. Not a great position to be, but possession nevertheless. And so this lineout is critical.
A scary place to be against a team of Oregon's caliber. Any mistake, any ball going to ground, or perhaps a knock-on turns the ball over to Oregon in a dangerous territory. And there we go. Oregon now has the ball as they run left and outrun the camera. Oregon off to the left. We'll hope that camera will pick up the action and slide over there shortly. But looking from the players' reactions, I do believe Oregon took that one in for another try.
Yeah, pity we couldn't see what's going on there, but Oregon certainly stamping their authority early on in this game, letting Central know that they are here to play. We are here to compete, even if it means we are on your home turf, and sending a message early on. Let's see if Central can bounce back with one of their own.
I am straining my eyes looking for that sidelines official scoreboard so we can tell if the conversion was good or not. Can't quite, just can't make it out. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 more points on the board there for Oregon as Central fields the ball and looking to go down the left-hand side. He's going to be run to ground about the 10-meter line.
Great bit of power and strength, just raw strength shown by the big number 6 from Central. Jose bumping one of the Oregon players, but losing the ball in the process. Oregon being rewarded with another set piece.
Josue Chacon losing the ball there and turning the ball over to Oregon for I believe a knock-on here. 3 minutes left to play in this first half. This first half is going quickly. And Oregon coming back off to the left there. Oh, there's a bit of a bobble and ref signaling advantage. Central jumps on the ball, looks for the offload pass intercepted by Oregon. That's going to bring us back for the advantage penalty. The knock-on will bring Central back for a scrum around near midfield. We're looking for the camera to find its way back to the ball game. Official game clock here. And looks like Central scrum. He was brought quick. The runner brought quickly to ground. Back over, looking to go up the middle. Nowhere to run. Central with a good rug, maintaining the possession now, looking to swing the ball back to the right-hand side. Reverses his field, looks to go back up the middle. Nowhere to go. Oregon driving Central backwards slowly. Central now at about midfield here, as Oregon State called for, I believe, ref signaling hands in the ruck. Central with a quick tap and go to restart. Looking to make a step up the middle. Can't quite do it. It's going to be forward to about Oregon's 10-meter line.
Way to capitalize on the opportunity from Oregon there, poaching the ball at that breakdown. Quick to attack down the right-hand side. And they've noticed a bit of space. Leading down the right-hand side. Oregon's wing cantering in as he speeds up to dot one down of himself. The big swan dive. 5 points to Oregon.
And Oregon quick to jump on the hole on the outside. Good vision to see that there was a bit of advantage out there. Swing it out to the winger. He's got the speed to make the corner all the way down the side, back to the center to dot that one down for another 5 for Oregon.
And it looks like the extra 2 were added successfully by Oregon as referee Jordan blows the first half to an end.
And so we'll go into halftime with the Oregon side leading Siwoo by a score of 21-0. Kickoff to restart the second half as OSU kicks off to Siwoo. Siwoo pinned down back beyond their own 22, and a bit of an error there. I believe that may have been a knock-on. Is going to turn the ball over for an Oregon scrum. Dangerous territory for Siwoo to knock the ball on. So looking to set the scrum. Ref didn't quite like what he saw there. Just a bit of a reset.
There's space down that left-hand side. Central's going to want to make sure that they cover that. And Oregon in a pretty staggered formation here. Let's see what they conjure up.
Oregon does take it off to the right. The fortunate break for Siwu, as that's where all of the defenders were. The offload pass knocked on by Siwu, so that is attempted interception knocked on by Siwu, so that's going to reset Oregon for a right-hand scrum here just a meter outside Central's 22. Good scrum to Oregon. They're going to take it off to the left. Central defense is there. Oh, but he steps the defender. The defender overshoots. Quick step to the right. Oregon breaks through, and they'll take that one quickly down for Oregon's 4th try of the day.
What a way to capitalize on the opportunity. They recognize the field positioning, the territory, and the desire to want to come away with points as they are camping in Central's half. Great bit of vision and skill execution by passing that ball down the left-hand side, ball handling speed, fantastic, and recognition of space that just opened up down the left-hand side, and over the whitewash he goes. Adding the extra 2, is it good? Did it miss? Referee says, yes, sir. Another 2 points to Oregon.
2 more points to Oregon. That brings it to Oregon 28, Central 0. As we are now about 2 minutes into this second half. Oregon lining up for the restart. Good high kick's going to make it the necessary 10, but it's going to go straight into touch. So I believe, Clint, that brings us back to midfield for a Central scrum, does it not?
I think a short, Sevens rules, that's a short arm restart play. Central are going to want to make the most of this opportunity. It's one of the few opportunities they've had to really apply pressure and ask questions of this Oregon defensive outfit.
And Central with the tap, looking to put some pressure on Oregon here in the second half, down by a score of 28-0. Central at the 10, Oregon defense holding them there, though, not allowing them to advance at this point. Finds a step there. Forward for about 3 meters is Central Washington. Ref signaling an advantage. Perhaps not. Central recycling and still going. Oregon State looks to have stolen the ball. The good jackal by Oregon. Good. As they come back towards the right. They've got a bit of a 2-on-1 going over here. And there's the offload down the wing. Can Central get there and close it off? They do. They close off the corner. Seal it off. Force him back inside. That looked to be an Oregon knock-on, I believe.
And just like that, everything changes. The ball back in the Central's hands. They're going to want to capitalize up the left-hand side of the field here, Mark.
And Central back towards midfield and looking for the grubber kick. If he's got the speed to beat the defenders there, can't quite get there. It doesn't take a Central bounce. Oregon with the ball, but that kick took them all the way back to the 22. So, again, that dangerous place to be on offense. If Central can force an error and perhaps a knock-on, a bobbled pass, they'll be in good attacking position as Oregon now looking to move the ball out of that red zone over to the right-hand side, and he's got space on the wing. He's got the speed. He beats the winger, and Oregon down the sideline as he, again, outruns the camera, but it looks like this is going to be 5 more for Oregon, Clint.
Oregon really just making the most of every opportunity that's presented. Never stopping, never die attitude. Every breakdown becomes a competing zone. Not only are they attacking and competing with ball in hand, they're competing with a strong desire to want to turn over ball and showing integrity to their defensive shape. With great vision and rugby IQ to shift the ball into space once the turnover was made. With tired hands on hips for the Central team. And Oregon add another 5 points to their tally.
And no good on the conversion. So with about 2 minutes left to play on our unofficial game clock, Oregon dominating this match 33-0 over Central Washington. Bit of a bobble by Central on the restart kick, but they managed to scoop the ball off the ground, remain in possession. Good ruck by Central to hold the possession there as Oregon looked to be attempting to jackal. Nowhere to go as they're driven backwards. Central resetting, now going to go off to the left-hand side. Bobbled the pass. Ref signaling advantage to Oregon, and that's going to call the knock on, so that'll turn the ball over. Oregon ball inside Central territory.
The unforced errors really starting to compound for Central, and Oregon almost getting gifts on a golden platter, not having to do much and just earning possession in the right areas. Midfield scrum, yeah, with space on the right-hand side. Oregon opting to go left, Mark.
Going left, and didn't work out for them that time as Central's defense closes quickly, but again, the penalty and Central's defender being called for not rolling away from the tackle. Quick tap by by Oregon to restart, and they're across Central's 10-meter line. Good leg drive here as the Oregon player keeps the ball moving forward. Quick pick up and restart, quick step through the gap, a tiny little gap. He squirted through that one, Clint, as Oregon puts another 5 on the board.
You know, that's just another statement, and just like that, everything can change. When Central seemed somewhat strong, somewhat integral to their defensive structure, one gap, one moment, and another 5 points to the scoreboard.
And the unofficial game clock nearing the regulation time here. We'll see if the ref allows them to keep going, but players looking like they're beginning to move towards the sideline. So I believe that is going to be the final, with the final score. Oregon dominating this one 38-0 over Central.
Central are going to want to take a hard look at themselves and ask some questions. I know there's some newbies in that team who have a rugby history or experience of only a few months, this year being their first year ever picking up a rugby ball. So credit to them for throwing their weight around and giving it their all. And just another learning opportunity for a lot of those players who will certainly be big contributors as this program continues to regain its strength.
Quick reset of the game clock here, and we'll, as the boys begin to take the field, and we'll have Washington playing Oregon State. Oregon State looks to be ready to kick off, moving left to right. So Oregon State in the black and orange, Washington in the predominantly white and purple. And we are ready to kick this one off. And there's the kickoff. Looks like Oregon State has stolen the kickoff, and so they'll start their attack well into Washington territory as they look to go around the right-hand side. Good defensive play by the Washington winger to stop the Oregon State wing in his tracks, and Washington jackals the ball. They're over midfield, looking to make a couple of steps, looking for the offload. And that offload there, a bit of a toss-up, pulled out of the air by Oregon State as they'll take over again just inside their own half of the field. Oregon State now coming off to the right-hand side. Oh, he finds a hole, shoots through that gap, and it'll be a foot race to the goal line. Nothing in front of him but grass. Oregon State's going to take that one in, and he'll dot that down beneath the post. Oregon State strikes first.
Great bit of leadership, great bit of skill set, great bit of composure shown by the captain himself, number 12 from Oregon State, putting the team on his back, identifying a bit of space and saying, yes, please, I'll take it home. He adds 5 points and opens the scoring account for Oregon State.
Good play by Oregon State there to take it right up the middle. dotted down beneath the post, and with a conversion kick, good there. Oregon State quickly up to a 7-0 lead. Oregon State lines up for the restart kick. Nice high, perhaps a bit too deep for Oregon State to play, fielded by Washington at their own 22. And he finds a hole of his own, and there he's gone. Straight up the middle. Good vision to see that hole, and Washington quickly says, we're not going to let Oregon State jump out in front of us. Or Washington putting 5 of their own on the board.
And just like that, one moment you're deep in your own half, and the next moment you're on the dance floor. A quick left foot, right foot, and a bit of speed, turning the Jets on. University of Washington adding their own to the scoreboard with another 2 points to come.
And the conversion's
successfully
good.
Is.
Ties it up at 7-all. So we're about 2.5 minutes in on the unofficial game clock. The score knotted up at 7. And Washington, University of Washington setting up to restart with the kick. High kick, but it's not going to make it the necessary 10 meters. That'll bring us back to midfield for a quick restart to Oregon State. There's the tap. Restart. Looks to step the defender. Nowhere really to go there. Going to be brought down at the 10. Oregon State will go to the left. Ref signals, looks like he's signaling a knock-on by Washington. Oregon State with the grubber kick along right-hand side. 2 runners giving chase. And the Washington defender gets there first, saves what could have been an easy try for Oregon State. And looks like perhaps a knock-on, perhaps, to Washington. I couldn't quite catch the signal there. Clint, did you catch that one?
No, I couldn't quite see secondary signal there, Mark.
Regardless, it was an infraction to Washington, so Oregon State with the quick restart, and he'll quickly take a step, rumble through, and be tackled across the line as he dots it down, and Oregon State puts another 5 on the board.
And that's not, I just want to bring that play back, Mark, to the number 12 from Oregon State. That's not instinct. That's understanding of where the space was, understanding of how to access it. As he put the ball into space, he earned the infringement, got the penalty. I mean, 1 or 2 passes later, they capitalize over Oregon State, go to add another 5 points. The conversion unsuccessful. And we certainly have a game on our hands. Oregon got the upper hand. University of Washington need to bounce back with one of their own to stake their claim in this encounter.
Coming up on 1.5 minutes to play in the first half of this match here. High booming kick. It's playable, and it looks like Oregon State may have come away with that, but there's an infraction. So a bit of a lucky break for Washington allows them to maintain the possession. And he'll look for a quick step and rumble forward as he crosses the 10-meter line. Quick pickup, and that's going to be a forward pass. If the ref saw it that way, he may not have seen it, though, as it looks like the Washington player is going to take that one all the way in. And there's the ref's arm. So I believe may have missed a call there by the ref. Clint, what do you think?
I think marginal. I'll give credit to University of Washington because in this format, speed is a weapon. And they've just drawn it. He clearly didn't need much, just a meter, and he was gone down the right-hand side to add 5 points to Washington's tally.
And indeed, that is all it took, was that 1 meter, a little step ahead, and Washington State puts 5 more on the board, converts, and that puts them up by a score of 14-12. Coming up on 20 seconds left, so we may be looking at the last sequence here as Washington kicks off. Good high kick, might be playable if it takes a good bounce for them. That may be a knock-on to OSU. That's going to set Washington up for a good attacking opportunity if there's time left on the clock. And it looks like there may not be, as the boys are leaving the field. So I believe our ref has blown the whistle, and we'll call it halftime. Washington nursing the narrowest of leads, 14-12 over Oregon State. And we're back, starting the second half. Washington up by a narrow score of 14-0. As OSU now looks, he breaks one tackle, breaks a second tackle. He's going to be free and clear all the way. The last defender is going to run him to ground about 10 meters out from the try line. But an outstanding run by Oregon State as they look to reset, and the referee blows the whistle for an infraction.
University of Washington tracking back out of desperation, making a scintillating bit of defensive play.
Quick reversal of field by Oregon State, and he's going to take that one right up the middle, and quickly Oregon State's going to put 5 points on the board to reclaim the lead in this match.
Yeah, a great bit of recognition there and capitalizing on some real tired bodies of University of Washington. Boys, hands on their knees, bending over, hinged hips, sucking in the big ones. Oregon State saying, we'll take another 5, thank you. And that's sevens in its purest form.
Conversion kick looks to be good. That's 2 more to Oregon State. Oregon State up by 5. So this match proving to be one of the tighter matches of the day, as these two teams have thus far been trading tries back and forth. Oregon State with the kickoff, and it's going to be bobbled by Washington. Looks like the ball did go backwards, so Washington does maintain the possession. Offload, a bit of a rumble forward, and good offload there to keep the play alive. And Washington now looking to put some moves on there as they carry the ball across Oregon State's 10-meter line. Now perhaps just looking to reset, dodging defenders, dragging defenders forward. Washington resetting, looking for that corner. Can't quite get there. Support runners there. Washington now inside Oregon State's 22. Washington really putting together a good string of runs here, but that right there is going to bring it to a halt. The pass a bit low, bobbled by the recipient, and that's a knock on to Washington. Is going to turn the ball over to Oregon State, bringing Washington's momentum to an end, and Washington State will take over at their own 22.
Real credit. I was just starting to get excited by University of Washington's attacking structures there, really asking some nice questions of Oregon State, and an unforced error only to halt them in their own tracks. But they're certainly starting to find some nice continuity. Oregon State here, Mark.
Oregon State with a good scrum, looking to go off the right-hand side, and if he breaks that tackle, he does. He steps out of that tackle, and just like that, Oregon State is going to take this one coast to coast. They're going to put another 5 on the board beneath the post. Oregon State now stretching that lead to 10 points.
And one missed assignment, and it's 7 points. That's the danger of sevens. Space punishes any form of hesitation, and around the right-hand side there, the clear display of what speed can do. Just the Oregon winger.
Just the smallest of errors, just enough space for him to squirt through. A desperate grab at the ankles, couldn't quite get a hold of it, and Oregon State takes it all the way. 7 more on the board there, +2 with the conversion. Oregon State's gone from down 2 to up 12 in the span of about 3 minutes. Oregon State really looking to put a mark on this second half. Washington needs to turn something around quickly. High booming kick by Oregon State's going to take Washington deep. That one's going to roll into touch and goal, I believe. And what does that bring us back for, Clint? Is that a goal line dropout, or does that take us back to midfield?
That should take us back to midfield for a short arm, I think. But referee Caleb here has suggested a 22 dropout, which doesn't exist in the format of the sevens game. But we'll play on through this. It should be a short arm to University of Washington on the halfway line. But nevertheless,
kick by Washington is going to be fielded on the jump by Oregon State. He's hit quickly as he catches the ball. And the ref signaling advantage Washington. They'll tap and go quickly as they cross the 10. Bit of a hurdle there into a secondary defender as they come up to midfield. Washington's still in possession, and there's an infraction. Is going to turn the ball over, I'm afraid. No, my mistake. Washington's still in possession. Looking to break free of the tacklers there. He breaks one. The secondary tackler is going to chase him down. He's going to be tackled just shy of the 5-meter line. And there's the quick offload. He's going to jog that one in as Washington still alive in this match, putting another 5 on the board with 2.5 minutes to play. Or pardon me, 1.5 minutes to play.
Just a big, raw, powerful run. Straight up the middle, legs pumping, big and broad, ball tucked, saying, I only know one place, and that's the dance floor. Really big effort by the big number 6 from University of Washington, Mark. That's not luck, that's execution.
Excellent execution by Washington to stay in this one. Could not quite see the conversion, but with the dot down being in the middle, would assume that that's going to be good. The kickoff is going to go directly into touch. That should bring us back to midfield.
It's really not the result after such solid execution by University of Washington that they would have wanted, giving the ball on a golden platter over to Oregon State to come back and apply pressure to potentially get one of their own, Mark.
Oregon State with the quick tap and go at midfield. Not really anywhere to run as they cycle the ball over to the left-hand side. And I believe hands in the rucks. Oregon State sided for hands in the ruck. That turns the ball over to Washington. Down by only 5 points. Good opportunity to take this one. And he finds a gap. He's up the middle. He's going to be brought to ground near the 22. Ball goes to ground. And the ref is going to signal possession to Oregon State. Looks to go for the kick, but it's blocked. Ball's on the ground, and ref blows the whistle, and he is signaling. Couldn't quite see the infraction, but possession to Oregon State at their own 22 as the unofficial game clock has expired, so we're down in the waning section of this game. Oregon State does kick it out to stop the clock and holds on to a narrow 5-point victory. Oregon State 26, Washington 21.
Once again, a fantastic display, clearly indicated by the margin of that game. 5 points adrift. Both teams here to play, competing in every facet of the game. Rugby certainly winning the occasion in that instance. The defensive structures, as well as the attacking initiative taken from both teams, was something to cue into.
And we'll be back shortly with Idaho against Western Oregon. So with that, the completion of that game, that will set up our large school finals. And so we should have, if I've been tallying the scores correctly, we should have Oregon State versus Washington in the third place match, and Oregon taking on Central for the championship. As the teams take the field here now, we'll have 2 more matches for the small schools. First one up here will be the University of Idaho against Western Oregon. Looks like Western Oregon wearing the black, University of Idaho wearing the white. Good high kick for Idaho. It's playable. Takes a playable bounce, but fielded by University of Washington. I'm sorry, Western Oregon. Western Oregon now on the attack, moving off to the right. They've got space along the left. He's going to step it back to the middle, though. Says, I can do this myself. He's going to take that one all the way forward to the 10-meter line. And looks like Idaho has stolen the ball off the ground at the 10-meter line. And that pass is going to be wide off to the right. It's going to roll into touch.
Western Oregon gifted with a fantastic opportunity to attack just outside the 22-meter of Idaho. There's space beckoning on the right-hand side of the field, as well as straight up the middle. Mark, it'd be interesting to see how Western Oregon approach this one.
Indeed it will. So there's a good clean line out to Western Oregon. We'll see if they can swing it to the right quickly enough. Bit of a knock on there if I'm not mistaken. We'll see what the ref has to say about it. And he is bringing the boys. There's the signal of knock on to Western Oregon. So we're going to have an Idaho scrum.
Arguably, we've gone from one set piece to the other. This one presenting more space on the left and on the right. Space. Oh, turned over.
Idaho taking it off to the left-hand side. Looking to step back inside. Nowhere to go as that Western Oregon defense closes down that opening. Idaho staying alive, though, bringing it back to the middle. And now they've got a bit of an opening on the wing. If he's got the speed to get there, the Western Oregon players quickly closes the gap, tackles him into touch just as he offloads. Idaho still in possession. And now there's that Western Oregon rugby knowledge as he anticipates the pass, rumbles it in, and Western Oregon's on the board with 5.
Real great passage of play there, an ability to capitalize on the opportunities that presents. Western Oregon camping in their opposition's half and not coming away with points until they intercept that ball and add 5 of their own.
Oregon State really showing good defense to fend off the fact that Western Oregon was indeed deep in their territory for most of these first couple of minutes of the match. But then once it flips over to offense, just a slight error on the part of, or perhaps not even an error on Oregon, but just great anticipation by Western Oregon to anticipate that pass and intercept it, take it through for the try. Ball takes a bit of a bounce, fielded by Idaho on the kickoff, and so Idaho now moving into Western territory, resetting about the 10. That may be a knock on right there as the ref blows the whistle. And Western Oregon's going to have a scrum just inside Idaho's half of the field.
Another fantastic opportunity here. As I'm sure we can all see, there's an abundance of space emerged on the left-hand side here. Let's see if number 10 can bounce and come down the left.
And Western Oregon elects to keep going to the right, and they run into some opposition at midfield, slightly across the original gain line. They'll reset and bring it back left this side. No overload. Quickly hit by Oregon at the midfield. Swinging it around to the right. They've got a bit of an overload on the right there. If they can get the offload pass, he brings it back to the inside. Pretty good gain as they come back across the 10. That may have been a forward pass, Clint.
Yeah, just a slide. Oh, it looks like referee has given an infringement of some sort with a penalty.
I believe we had a forward pass to Western Oregon there, turned the ball over to Idaho as they reset near their own 10-meter line. And now Western Oregon closing in that defense. Idaho getting pushed back to their own 22. That's a dangerous place to be, as we've seen many a turnover turn into a try in that red zone. Idaho now bringing it back out, getting closer to the 10 out of that red zone. Looked like it showed kick, decided to pass instead. And the pass towards the wing is going to be bobbled. Ball goes backwards, so stays live. Idaho still in possession. But now driven back perhaps about 10 meters out from their own try line is Idaho, as they desperately need to hang on to possession here.
Idaho certainly losing their structures here. This wouldn't have been what the coach would have prepped them for leading into this game. I wonder what he would say. Wonder what he's going to say at the halftime to reconsolidate and get the guys back on the same page, because they're certainly presenting opportunities, free gifts to Oregon, who are in another fantastic position on the left-hand side here, attacking offset piece.
Indeed, the unforced error in their own red zone there, turning the ball over to Idaho inside the 20. I'm turning the ball over to Western Oregon inside the 22, and there it is. He finds the space, steps through it, and Western Oregon's going to put another 5 on the board.
You can feel the pressure building here. This is where the game can start to tilt. Oregon just capitalizing on all the unforced errors that are emerging on the Idaho side, and another 5 points. Going into the second half, as we conclude the dying minutes of the first half here, Idaho are going to want to consolidate, re-strategize, and collectively get back on the same page.
And Western Oregon's conversion kick is good, putting them up by a score of 14-0 as it looks like the half has ended. So that will take us into halftime with the score Western Oregon 14, Idaho 0. And we're back for the second half of this match with Western Oregon leading Idaho by a score of 14-0. Western Oregon with the kickoff. Looks like they might have stolen the kickoff there. Can't quite tell. They did. Western Oregon now going on the attack inside Idaho's 10-meter line as they steal the opening kickoff of the second half. And now looking around that left-hand side, had just a momentary bit of space opened up there, but Idaho closed it down in time. Western resets. Coming around the right-hand side, he hasn't quite stepped around that defender. They've got him by the shirt, but he's going to drag that one all the way to the sideline. Looks like he just stepped into touch as the AR's flag goes up. And so Western, with a good run, just dragging defenders along with him, takes that one just inside Idaho's 22-meter line before being dragged into touch.
The big fella, Oregon, number 3, holding the ball in one hand, fending players off with the left hand, and waving the ball up around the air like he's playing for Fiji, showcasing his bit of talents, but being dragged into touch. And here we see Idaho with a line out of their own.
And the line-out pass is going to be overshot, but it'll take an Idaho roll there and be picked up on the bounce as they look to go off to the right-hand side, but bobbles the ball. A bit of an errant pass and actually a fortunate bounce as the Idaho player in circling back to pick it up is able to circle outside the winger and put a substantial number of meters behind him before being run down by a secondary Western Oregon defender.
Yeah, Idaho certainly, or nearly making the most of that opportunity there, only to be brought down on the right-hand side of the field, but regathering some momentum, which can shift so quickly in the game of sevens. One moment you're defending, the next moment you're attacking, the next moment you're showing a clean set of heels, and you're earning 5 or 7 points. So the awareness and alertness has got to be consistent in and amongst the tied bodies.
Really hard to see who's got the scrum here. I think this is an Idaho scrum. No, my mistake. It's a Western Oregon scrum. As they'll look to bring it over to the right-hand side. No real opening there. A quick bobble's going to lose them quite a few meters as that bounce takes them back just behind their own midfield line, and they rumble it across just beyond midfield, but Western Oregon still in possession. They'll reset, look to attack. Good Idaho defense brings them down behind the midfield line. Reset looking to come to the right-hand side. They've got just a touch of an overload, but he brings it back to the inside. He may be just about dragged into touch. I think I see the AR's flag in the corner there. And so some good defensive pursuit by Idaho is going to be rewarded with a line out here at midfield.
The integrity of that white wall of Idaho, holding strong, not letting much meters up. Clearly a collective effort to not leak any space, with a strong desire to force an error and turn the ball over, earning them a left-hand field line out.
And the throw-in, didn't quite see the signal. Did you catch what happened there, Clint?
Not sure, other than the referee just resetting the line out. Same possession. Idaho with the throw.
Good line out to Idaho as they'll bring it back off to the right. Oh, they had some space and speed there, but the ball goes to ground. It's going to be kicked forward by Western Oregon, and they do come away with it. He's going to be brought to ground just inside the 5, but Western Oregon knocking on the door here. I do believe Idaho's stolen the ball back. And they now about 15 meters out from their own try line. Over to the right-hand side, he bobbles the ball, and it's going to roll into touch, and Western Oregon's going to have a line out inside Idaho's 22.
Yet again, we're just faced with another unforced error, and an unforced error for the folks at home means when there was no real pressure put on the ball carrier or the receiver, and they've gone and dropped it just with the lack of concentration or a dip in a skill set. And so that qualifies as an unforced error. And both teams compounding on the error front. The team to keep the ball in hand and maintain possession, I think, is likely to score next.
Western Oregon feeds the scrum. Ball's out. Clean scrum, taking it off to the left. Nowhere to run as the Idaho defense closes in. Ball stolen by Idaho. They've got an overload on the right-hand side. He's got support. If he needs it, he offloads a bit of an errant pass. It's going to go to ground. I think Idaho may have stayed on top of it. Ref signaling a turnover to Western Oregon as they take the ball back behind their own 10. Western Oregon on the attack. Idaho's momentum squashed. Attempted interception there. Looks to have been knocked forward. So that call should, I believe, be a knock on Idaho. That'll give us a Western Oregon scrum here along the right-hand side.
Mark, we're seeing a bit of ping pong. The one team has the ball. The other then says to the other team, you have a go. And it's changed possession about 3 or 4 times in the same passage of play.
Western Oregon now resetting at the 10, bringing the ball to the right-hand side. Nowhere to go as Idaho knocks them backwards a few meters for a loss. I believe Idaho's stolen the ball there if they can maintain the ruck. Powers forward for a couple of meters. Idaho at the 10. Good step. He goes through. Idaho player finds the hole, and he's going to take it through. And Idaho's going to put their first points on the board.
And just like that, they're not just playing rugby, they're dictating terms. A bit of conviction, bit of continuity, and 5 points on the board for Idaho. They'll be pleased with that effort.
Clint, I looked away just long enough to click the scoreboard and missed the conversion. Was it? I believe it should have been good. Am I correct?
I think it was good, Mark.
I think it was, as Idaho re-kicks and Western Oregon now going on the attack from the 22. Idaho down by 7. Regulation unofficial time clock has expired, so we're down to the waning seconds, perhaps the last sequence of this match. Idaho desperately needing to put another score on the board to tie this one up and end with a tie. Western Oregon smartly kicks the ball into touch, and that will end the game. And Western Oregon will take the victory home on this one by a score of 14-7. And if I'm not mistaken, that may give us a points tie between Western Oregon and Idaho. So it may come down to tries scored or something like that makes the decision as to who will place where for the final match of the finals round.
I think whoever does see themselves going through to the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals, Mark, I think we're in for an absolute treat after watching the opening 3 rounds of this tournament. We've certainly seen some special talent on display with these young men coming, clearly showing their preparation, composure, poise, and execution of skill under pressure. So great brands of rugby played across the board by all teams here today. For those folks that have just joined us, welcome to the Northwest Collegiate Sevens tournament hosted by Central Washington University in the beautiful Ellensburg, Washington, where next up we'll have Gonzaga University versus Central Oregon. Central Oregon on the left, Gonzaga on the right in blue, which we should be in for another fantastic fixture.
Indeed, this should be a heck of a game here. Gonzaga wearing, I believe, the stripes, moving right to left, and Central Oregon Community College kicking off left to right, and we are just about to start this one. And a good high kick. It takes a Central Oregon Community College bounce, and so they'll steal that line out and go on the attack from Gonzaga territory. Oh, a bit of a bobble there. That knock-on's going to cost them, though. That'll turn the ball over.
There was a knock-on from that kickoff by Gonzaga, which allowed Central Oregon to regather. Referees brought it back, no advantage played. And so a fantastic platform to attack off early on in this exchange for Central Oregon. There is space on the far left. There is space in behind. Let's see what Central Oregon conjure up here, Mark.
Bit of a bobble by the scrum half, and I believe that'll squander the scrum, turn the ball over to Gonzaga as they go on the attack near midfield. Good run forward as he dodges a couple of defenders and takes a couple with him. Gonzaga COCC's 10. Infraction to Gonzaga is going to give us a Central Oregon scrum.
Midfield scrum for Central Oregon. Space on both sides. Opportunity of plenty here.
Central Oregon looks to bring it to the right-hand side. He steps the defender. Second one's got an arm on him, takes him down by the shirt tails. Support players are there, though, and off the ruck, I believe number 4 there takes a step, dekes the defender out of his shoes, and takes that one all the way in, and COCC will put the first 5 on the board for this game.
And just like that, Central Oregon adding their flavor to the game. The number 3 tackled, appreciating the laws, releasing the ball. Referee saying play on as he picks up, regathers, step 1, step 2, and around he goes, adding 5 points to Central Oregon's tally.
And apologies again, I did look away. Clint, was that conversion good?
I think it was good, Mark. I also missed that one.
That was dotted down close enough to the post. I believe that one would have been good. So now Central Oregon will look to kick off. High playable kick, but it's fielded clean by Gonzaga. Stripped out of his arms by Central Oregon, though, and they will go on the attack inside the 10. So Central Oregon again looking to threaten straight off the kickoff here as number 8 looks to go back towards midfield. Can't work his way around all of the defenders. Central Oregon with the reset. Looking to draw the defenders in. The winger's got speed around the corner. He finds the corner, and he's going to outrun 2 defenders. And again, Central Oregon showing speed, this time on the opposite corner. Will take it in for another 5.
In this format, Mark, speed is a weapon, and they've just drawn it. 1 missed assignment, and it's 7 points. The big winger from Central Oregon waiting patiently on the left-hand side. Once the ball reached him, the Jets were on, and over he went for 5.
Conversion's up and good. And so about 4 minutes in on the unofficial game clock, Central Oregon up by a score of 14-0 over Gonzaga. High booming kick by Central Oregon. Caught cleanly by Gonzaga, but hit immediately, nowhere to run. And Gonzaga brought down, looking to start their attack just beyond their own 22. Looking for a step, looking for that winger for the offload now. Nowhere to go as Central Oregon closes off the holes. But when you close off one hole, another one opens, and Gonzaga's looking to find those openings as they move it off back to the right-hand side. And there they run out of defenders. Gonzaga now finding the opening on the far right-hand side. He is run to ground by Central Oregon just inside the 22, but Gonzaga with a good 20-plus meter gain there. And now a hole back towards the middle, and he's going to drag the defender across as Gonzaga is going to take it in, carrying a defender across to put 5 points on the board.
And the big fella, Mark, straight over the line, there to collect some pies at the end, saying, get some. Well, he walks back with a big grin on his face. He'll be awfully chuffed with his efforts to follow through on his teammates' effort to get him downfield to add 5 more points to the board with an unsuccessful 2 points.
And an outstanding run there. It's hard to stop the big guy once you let him get up ahead of steam, and he found one through the hole there. Found a hole, ran through it, and just carried the defender with him across the board as Gonzaga brings this one within reach, 7-14. Central Oregon leading. 1 minute left to play in the unofficial game clock here. Gonzaga looks to steal that one, but they may have knocked the ball on, and they did. It's going to be a fortunate break for Central Oregon as they maintain the possession. And now they're looking for the corner, and he just steps beyond that winger and finds the hole. And here now, as we're into the waning seconds of this match, Central Oregon is going to put another one, a little insurance money on the board.
Great appreciation of time and space by the number 8 from Central Oregon. Dummying once, holding on to the ball, waiting for the moment to open up, and his teammate running a great support line down the right-hand side. You can feel the pressure building here. And they're not just playing rugby now, Mark. They're starting to dictate terms, the Central Oregon team.
Indeed they are, as they put another 2 on the board. They're now up by 14 points as the ref blows the whistle, marking halftime for this match. And we will see Central Oregon go into halftime leading 21-7 over Gonzaga.
Right, Central Oregon receiving that, the ball going straight up the middle, a little bit messy, as Central Oregon notices some space down the right-hand side, clean pair of heels, turn of pace, ball under the right arm as he takes this over the whitewash for another 5 points. The winger of Central Oregon indicating that he's certainly here to play, establishing his identity on this field. He'll be chuffed with those efforts as his teammates corral around him for a bit of congratulatory remarks. We await the extra 2 points. Referee signals successful, taking the score to 28 points to 7. This is where Gonzaga is certainly going to want to stick their hands up and bounce back with a try of their own to keep that scoreline intact. Central Oregon kicking off, managing to regather that, noticing some space. Great offload, keeping the continuity going as he senses a bit of space. And a big don't argue before he places that ball down, adding yet another 5 points. A solid run there from Central Oregon, which all started off with a great kick, opportunistic at the kickoff, regathering, capitalizing on the space that presented, a scrag tackle that was broken through, great offload with another 5 points. Currently, we sit at 33 points to 7 to Central Oregon as we await the attempt for another 2 points. We've got a player down in the backfield from Gonzaga. Hope he's okay. Central Oregon adding the extra 2, taking that tally to 35 points. the scoreline really starting to be stretched now. I think you're live, Mark? You can be heard, eh? Central Oregon to get proceedings back underway with a great hanging skyscraper. Well fielded by Gonzaga. High tackle coming in there. Referee signaling a penalty to Gonzaga. They'll want to capitalize on this opportunity and get out of their half. They move the ball down the right-hand side. Bit of footwork. Referee calls that ball back. Not happy with what happened in that last passage of play. A knock-on clearly happening there as Gonzaga gets another attempt. Struggling to make their way out of their own half as the pressure of Central Oregon is certainly mounting. Great scrum from Gonzaga, noticing a bit of space down the left-hand side of the field. He's tackled, but he stays on his feet, showing great power and strength. Quick ruck speed. Sees the ball move down the right-hand side for Gonzaga as they attack up the middle of the field, tucking the ball early. Central Oregon coming up as a white wall, integral to their structures. All out, so not offside, says the referee. Play on. Gonzaga capitalizes down the right-hand side as they move the ball. As they all turn over, they've just entered Central Oregon's half as they encounter a turnover against them. Central Oregon capitalizing on this possession, attacking straight up the middle, maintaining their feet. Strong, powerful carries and leg drives by Central Oregon. Great counter ruck by Gonzaga. And appreciation by the Laws by the second man in. The possession's been turned over, each team giving the other an opportunity to attack as Gonzaga senses a bit of space down the middle here on the right-hand side. And a great bit of vision and execution. Turn of pace by Gonzaga sees them straight under the poles for another 5 points. When really you thought nothing was on, Gonzaga capitalizes on the small opportunity that presented down the right-hand side, putting the team on his back. And over he goes for another 5 points. Fantastic effort. Never say die attitude. With the camera out of frame, I didn't see if the kick was successful. So I don't know if there was another 2 points scored. But at the moment, we're at 35 points to 12. To Central Oregon. Central Oregon regathering that ball, but referee signaling he was hit in the air. They capitalize, and up the middle they go. Quick, clean, speedy pair of heels shown by Central Oregon. Can't quite get the number, but he'll be pleased with the efforts and contributions that he made there in the dying minutes of the second half, adding another 5 points, taking the tally to 40 points. to 12 for Central Oregon. Let's see if he can add the extra 2. And successfully was taking the tally to 42 points to 12. Central Oregon leading the charge with 42 points to 12 against Gonzaga. Gonzaga will want to look to see if they can get a consolation try. They have a never say die attitude in that Gonzaga camp. They've been great all tournament long. Central Oregon opting to go deeper, cleanly regathered by Gonzaga. I spoke too soon. Knocked on, and referee Jordan says that's enough as he concludes proceedings in Ellensburg, Washington, seeing that game to an end. As the final score, 42 points to 12 to Central Oregon Collegiate College. Ladies and gentlemen, for those that have just joined us in the Northwest Collegiate Sevens Conference, welcome to Central Washington University. And next up from left to right, we have Oregon State in the black and red up against University of Washington on the right. University of Washington unable to regather their ball cleanly, knocking it on. Oregon State capitalizing on this opportunity inside University of Washington's half as they move the ball to the right and attack up the middle. Ball passed out to the right, well consolidated by University of Washington. Referee indicating that's a high tackle. Advantage underway. But Oregon State continues to attack. They're going backwards. Referee brings it back for penalty advantage on the right-hand side. Oregon State going to want to capitalize on this opportunity. Both teams testing each other's skill set out early on in this exchange. Oregon State opting to go for the line out, but unsuccessful in kicking it out. Allows University of Washington to capitalize on the error. Out the back pass. Great skill set. University of Oregon attacking down the right-hand side of the field as the ball travels through the back line. Clear turnover, Oregon State. Great appreciation of the laws at the background. Sees a clean pair of heels, and over the whitewash he goes. Oregon State adding the first 5 points to this tally. Opening the scoring board, 5 points to Oregon State with the kick to come. And that right there, folks, demonstrates seven in its purest form. 1 minute you're attacking, the next minute you're defending. And a turnover sees Oregon State capitalize on the error. 2 points successfully added for Oregon State, taking the score to 7 points to 0. Oregon State to kick off. University of Washington regathers cleanly as they pass the ball and consolidate their attack in the middle of the field, only to be held up by Oregon State. This is a great defensive effort. Referee says maul, scrum down, Oregon State. Really great awareness by Oregon State to identify University of Washington. The ball carrier couldn't make his way down to his knees to establish a breakdown, a ruck. And so they've earned the possession. They've turned it over. Excellent scrum feed. Ball comes out. That Oregon State attacks down the left-hand side of the field. Looping player. Ball goes backwards. Referee indicates knock on. Change of possession. Scrum down to Oregon State. Oregon State gifted with an opportunity here to make the most of this right field scrum. There is space down the far right-hand side, but it looks like they'll come left. With a shooting defensive player from Oregon State out of the line, can University of Washington identify the space in behind or on the left-hand side? Part of the ruck can't just stand up onto your feet. You need to release that ball, stand up on your feet, and get back to your feet before you play. Quickly played by Oregon State, who attacks straight up the middle, identifies space, and over the line he goes for another 5 points, taking the tally to 12 points to 0 to Oregon State. They'll be looking to add the extras to take it to 14 as we wait for this kick to come. Questions being asked by the University of Washington players to the referee. Who doesn't signal successful conversion, so the scoreline remains at 12 points to 0 to Oregon State. Oregon State kicks off, gets proceedings underway. University of Washington senses some space down the right-hand side, only to be brought down by great defensive effort by University of Oregon, or Oregon State, rather. University of Washington charges straight up the middle. Great appreciation of the laws, releases it, gets back to his feet. Referee bringing it back for a penalty infringement. University of Washington retain possession in the middle of the field. They tap the ball and opt to attack down the right-hand side of the field with a quick rubber kick in behind, noticing some space in the rear. Can they put pressure on Oregon State and capitalize? Yes, they can. They've turned this ball over. And just like that, folks, the ball's back in University of Washington's hands. Referee signaling a penalty. With great risk comes great reward. University of Washington demonstrating their kicking proficiency, capitalizing on easy territory with ball on the foot, while the referee slows proceedings down as we have a man down in the backfield, Oregon State. Let's hope he just needs a breather and bounces back to his feet. For those that have just joined us, we have Oregon State in the black and red and University of Washington in the white and purple, with Oregon State leading this current exchange with 12 points to 0. University of Washington working really hard to find their way into Oregon State's territory. Awarded a penalty before the stoppage of play. They're going to want to capitalize on this opportunity and this territorial gain to add some points of their own to the board. Glad to see the player from Oregon State back on his feet. He is being helped off on the sidelines, so hopefully it's not too serious. And we see him back in the games to come. But as we turn our attention back to the fray, we've got University of Washington being awarded a penalty midfield. There's space on the left and space on the right. This is the perfect opportunity to execute one of those training strike plays. As University of Washington is well controlled by Oregon State's defensive efforts, as Oregon State attempts to hold them up and turn over this possession. Referee indicates it's a maul and it's moving forward. Scrum down, Oregon State. Great defensive effort by Oregon State, consolidating University of Washington's attacking efforts. Referee concludes proceedings for the first half and sends both teams into the sheds for some rehydration, recalibration. After the first half, we have Oregon State leading 12 points to 0. It's been an absolute spectacular day for all athletes to showcase their talents. The weather has held out, the sun is out, the field is fast, and just a great occasion for talent in the Pacific Northwest to be displayed. We kickstart the second half off with University of Washington kicking from left to right to Oregon State, who gather the ball and attack up the middle. When a big defensive effort coming in from University of Washington, well consolidated. Oregon State moving the ball out to the right-hand side, noticing a bit of space up the middle of the field. Ball turned over, clean strip by the number 6 from University of Washington, who offloads to his teammates, notices some space, big leg drive up the middle. Opportunity beckoning on the left-hand side for University of Washington. Let's see if they can capitalize. Referee blows penalty advantage for a high shot. And over the line he goes. University of Washington striking early in the second half. 5 points. Taking the score to 12-5. Oregon State still in the lead. University of Washington will be pleased, especially that coaching staff. I wonder what was said at the halfway mark. Let's see if University of Washington can add the extra 2, taking this to 7 points. And unsuccessful, keeping the score at 12-5.